The launch of Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite in history, October 4, 1957. Imagine a sound that echoed around the world, a simple, repetitive beep that not only pierced space, but also the minds and hearts of millions of people. This sound was not just technology, it was a statement, a message to the world that humanity had taken its first step toward the stars. Today we will explore the moment when the sky was no longer the limit, and space became our new horizon. The launch of Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite in history, on October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union surprised the world by launching Sputnik 1, a small metal sphere equipped with antennas and radio transmitters. This event marked the beginning of the space age and inaugurated a new race between nations, the space race. But why did this small satellite have such an impact? How did it change the way we view space and the Earth? And what were the consequences of this historic feat? In this video, we'll delve into the depths of this extraordinary story, exploring the events leading up to the launch of Sputnik 1, the technological advances involved, and the global impact it had. We'll also discuss how this moment transformed science, politics, and even popular culture. Get ready for an exciting and inspiring journey that will reveal how a small object in the sky changed the destiny of humanity forever. The historical context. The Cold War and the space race. To understand the magnitude of the launch of Sputnik 1, we need to go back to the Cold War, a time of geopolitical tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union. After World War II, these two superpowers emerged as global leaders, each seeking to demonstrate its technological, military, and ideological superiority. The space race was one of the most visible areas of this competition. For years, scientists and engineers on both sides of the Iron Curtain worked tirelessly to develop technologies capable of exploring space. However, while the US focused its efforts on suborbital flights and experimental rockets, the Soviet Union was working towards an even more ambitious goal, putting the first human object into orbit around the Earth. But how did the Soviet Union manage to beat the US in this race? Who were the scientists behind this feat? And what was the role of the iconic Sergei Korolev, the Soviet chief engineer who led the project? Let's explore the background to the Cold War, the scientific advances that paved the way for Sputnik 1, and the crucial role of rocket technology, which began with the designs of Wernher von Braun and other pioneers of space engineering. The launch of Sputnik 1. A transformative moment. On October 4, 1957, at 7:28 p.m. Moscow time, Sputnik 1 was launched into space aboard an R-7 rocket known as Semyorka. This small satellite, just 58 centimeters in diameter and weighing about 83 kilograms, was placed in orbit approximately 900 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Sputnik 1 transmitted simple radio signals, beeps, that could be picked up by any receiver around the world. These beeps echoed like a Soviet victory cry, announcing to the world that the Soviet Union had conquered space before the United States. But what exactly happened during the launch? How was the satellite built and tested? And what was the global reaction to the event? In this section, we will detail the technical aspects of the launch, including the design of Sputnik 1, the operation of the R-7 rocket, and the challenges faced during the mission. We will also explore the international reactions, from shock and concern in the United States to admiration and pride in the Soviet bloc. In addition, we will discuss how Sputnik 1 changed the human perception of space. Until then, space had been seen as something unattainable, a mysterious and distant realm. With Sputnik 1, humanity realized that space was now an accessible and potentially explorable place. The political and technological impact. The launch of Sputnik 1 had immediate and lasting political and technological repercussions. In the United States, the event generated a wave of panic and self-doubt. How had the Soviet Union managed to outperform the Americans in something as strategic as space exploration? This question led to a series of internal reforms in the United States, including increased investment in science and technology, and the creation of NASA in 1958. In the technological field, Sputnik 1 paved the way for significant advances. It demonstrated that it was possible to send objects into space and keep them in orbit for long periods. This paved the way for future missions, including the launch of communications, observation and navigation satellites, as well as manned space travel. But Sputnik 1's impact was not limited to technology and politics. It also influenced popular culture, inspiring films, books, and songs about space. The Sputnik effect inspired thousands of young people to pursue careers in science and engineering, creating a new generation of space visionaries. In this section, we will explore the political, technological, and cultural legacy of Sputnik 1, highlighting how it shaped the future of space exploration and modern society. Kabardi fun facts and fascinating details. Now let's explore some interesting and little-known facts about Sputnik 1 that make this story even more interesting. The name Sputnik. The word Sputnik means fellow traveler or satellite in Russian. It was a symbolic name reflecting the Soviet ambition to explore space as a partner with humanity. Sputnik 1's beeps. The radio signals emitted by Sputnik 1 were not just for communication. They also served as a form of propaganda. Anyone with a radio could hear the beeps, proving to the world that the Soviet Union had reached space first. Sputnik 1's small size. Despite its monumental impact, Sputnik 1 was incredibly small. At just 23 inches, 58 centimeters in diameter and weighing about 180 pounds, 83 kg, it was smaller than a beach ball. However, its simple and efficient design was revolutionary for its time. Internal competition in the USSR. The launch of Sputnik 1 was the result of intense internal competition within the Soviet Union. Different teams of scientists and engineers vied for funding and recognition, and the success of Sputnik 1 was a personal victory for Sergei Korolev, who fought through bureaucracy and rivalry to bring the project to fruition. Fear of the Sputnik effect in the U.S. In the U.S., the launch of Sputnik 1 sparked the so-called Sputnik fear. Many Americans feared that the Soviet Union might use space technology for military purposes, such as launching nuclear weapons from space. This fear spurred massive investment in science education and space programs. The mystery of design. Sputnik 1's design was deliberately simple but also functional. Its 4 long antennas were designed to avoid mutual interference, ensuring that radio signals were transmitted without problems. The impact on education. The launch of Sputnik 1 prompted the U.S. to reform its education system, with an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. This resulted in programs such as the National Defense Education Act, NDEA, of 1958, which invested billions of dollars in scholarships and school laboratories. The cultural legacy, Sputnik 1 inspired a wave of enthusiasm for space exploration. Films such as Forbidden Planet 1956 and TV series such as Star Trek 1966 began to gain popularity, reflecting society's fascination with space. The space race after Sputnik. The launch of Sputnik 1 was just the beginning. In the years that followed, the space race intensified, with both sides making impressive advances. In 1958, the United States launched its first satellite, Explorer 1, which discovered the Van Allen radiation belts around Earth. In 1961, the Soviet Union sent Yuri Gagarin into space, making him the first human to orbit the Earth. But the space race was not just a competition between nations. It was also an engine of innovation. Thanks to the combined efforts of scientists and engineers on both sides, world-changing technologies such as miniaturized computers, advanced materials, and satellite communication systems emerged. In this section, we will explore the major milestones of the space race after Sputnik 1, including the Apollo program, which culminated in the landing of a man on the moon in 1969. We will also discuss how international cooperation eventually replaced competition, leading to the creation of the International Space Station, ISS, and other global collaborations. Reflections on the future. The legacy of Sputnik. One Sputnik 1 was much more than a satellite. It was a symbol of progress, ambition, and human potential. It taught us that with determination and innovation, we can overcome seemingly impossible barriers. But what can we learn from Sputnik 1 today? How can it inspire our efforts to explore Mars, colonize other planets, or solve problems here on Earth? In this section, we will reflect on the legacy of Sputnik 1 and its impact on the future of space exploration. We will also discuss ethical and philosophical issues related to space exploration, such as human responsibility in preserving space and the role of international cooperation in future missions. In addition, we will explore how Sputnik 1 continues to inspire dreamers and visionaries, from scientists and engineers to science fiction writers and filmmakers. Its legacy is a powerful reminder that space is not just a destination, but also an infinite source of possibilities. The launch of Sputnik 1 was a transformative moment in human history. Not only did it usher in the space age, it also showed us that the sky is no longer the limit. Thanks to Sputnik 1, we learned that space exploration is a collective journey that transcends borders and ideologies. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about historical events that shaped the world, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to watch the next video, where we will explore another incredible milestone in world history. Until then, keep thinking, questioning, and learning. After all, history is not just about the past, it is about the future that we can build together. Until next time.